I think that it's helpful, anytime we are working toward a goal, to keep the end in mind as best we can and strive toward that goal with a sense of purpose. Whether we are trying to finish a degree program or grow our business or learn a new language, keeping the end in mind, keeping in mind the benefits that we will receive from accomplishing the task at hand, can be the difference between success and failure. When I was in the seminary, there were days and weeks that just seemed to never end. It felt as if seminary were going to go on forever. But every so often, I would receive letters of strength and encouragement from students in our schools and parishioners I had served in ministry, members of our local Sarah clubs here in the Archdiocese, Knights of Columbus councils, letting me know that they were thinking about me and praying for me. Those notes and letters that I received made a real difference to me, and they were a great source of encouragement during my time in the seminary. The readings that we have been given for Mass this weekend are strikingly different from those from the past couple weeks. Recall on Ash Wednesday, Jesus outlined for us the penitential practices of prayer, fasting, and almsgiving, practices that we closely associate with Lent. And then in our gospel last week, we read that Jesus fasted in the desert for 40 days in preparation for his showdown with the devil. But today's readings are quite different from those that we had been reading. They are full of language that point to resurrection and hope. So why the stark contrast? And why are we given readings that are really celebratory in nature when Easter is still several weeks away? Well, I think it's for the same reason that students and parishioners and friends and supporters write letters of encouragement to seminarians, to help to keep them focused on the end result of all their hard work. Our readings today are intended, I think, to give us encouragement as we continue our Lenten journey. Yes, Lent is a time of penance. It is a time of sacrifice. It is a time of reflection, a time for us to look at where we are spiritually and make improvements. Remember that our acts of penance are meant to purify us of our sinfulness. Penance is not an end in and of itself. It is supposed to remind us of Christ and help us to be more like him, so that we can then go out and be a reflection of his light to the rest of the world. This way, at the end of our earthly lives, when we come face to face with Jesus, he will see a reflection of himself in us. So let's take a look at our readings today. Our gospel comes from Luke, and we get his account of the Transfiguration. Now, just before this event we read about today, Jesus had told his disciples for the first time about his upcoming passion and death. And so now today, he takes Peter, James, and John with him up a mountain where he is transfigured. He gives them a glimpse of his divinity. He does this because he knows the road to Calvary ahead will be rough and dangerous. And so he reveals his divinity to Peter, James, and John in order to give them encouragement and strength for the tough road he knows lies ahead of them. Our Lenten journey is meant to draw us closer to Christ. It's meant to strengthen our desire for him. But sometimes we can be apathetic. We can be complacent. At times it may seem easier for us to just coast our way through Lent, listening to the voices that go with the flow of the culture. But only Jesus can lead us to eternal life. Only he has the words of everlasting life. Try to imagine the scene that we're given in our gospel today. So we have Jesus, Peter, James, and John, Elijah, Moses. They're up on the mountain. And Jesus is transfigured, and this cloud comes down. And this voice comes from the cloud. This is my chosen son. Listen to him. It was an invitation from the Father to Peter, James, and John, and it is an invitation that echoes down throughout the centuries made to us today as well, to allow Christ to animate our lives and to give us the strength that we need to proclaim and bear witness to Him. In our second reading today, St. Paul reminds us that, quote, our citizenship is in heaven, and that He, Jesus Christ, will change our lowly body to conform to His glorified body. In other words, earth is not our final destination. Heaven is our final destination. We were not created to be on earth forever. We were created for the sole purpose of being with God in heaven for all eternity. And just like Jesus, we will receive a glorified body on the last day, when our body and soul will be reunited with one another. The readings today serve to both encourage us and remind us of our own resurrection and the eternal life that we hope to share one day with God in heaven. And while the Transfiguration was meant to strengthen the faith of Peter, James, and John leading up to Jesus' passion and death, it is meant to strengthen our faith and hope today. And so as we move into this second week of Lent, let us ask our Lord to be with us during these next several weeks, to give us the graces that we need to become more like Him and to draw closer to Him as we prepare to celebrate Easter Sunday.